It should be the peak of pleasure.
For me, orgasms has become a task. It's work. It's a job.
The average woman might manage 2 or 3 a week.
They come every 30 seconds for 4 to 6, sometimes 8 hours.
And guys, if you think that this sounds like fun...
How would you like to walk around with an erection 24 hours a day, or have an ejaculation, and then within a few minutes have a full-on erection again? And stay that way 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Meet the women for whom orgasm has become a never-ending nightmare. Coming, climaxing, peaking. Orgasm is the most intense and pleasurable experience you can have. You breathe more deeply. Your heart rate doubles to 175 beats per minute. Your genitals engorge. 116 muscles pulse and contract. And then, pow! Waves of endorphin-fueled pleasure sweep the body. Sounds great. But what happens when it all goes wrong? When you wake up one day to find your sexual organs demanding attention, no matter how unsexy you feel. When the need for release starts to derail your everyday life. Los Angeles at rush hour. Heat, traffic, and a woman with a spiky temper. Meet Jeannie. She's bursting to get home.
Well, you know. Oh, come on. Get your bloody ass Jaguar up there. Want to push?
Jeannie has a rare and perplexing condition that researchers have just discovered. It's called persistent sexual arousal syndrome.
Does the persistent sexual arousal make you more grumpy?
Absolutely. Yep. Makes my fuse very short. Oh, shut up. Who's here before you were?
Jeannie feels unrelenting physical arousal. But this is not about pleasure. Far from it.
Have you ever slammed a finger or thumb, whatever, in a door or someplace, and you've gotten it where it's beet red and it's throbbing? It's the same sensation in the fact that the clitoris has got the blood rushing, and you have that same terrible throbbing. So that's painful.
There's an insatiable beast down below that's been calling for 10 hours, and it's now deafening.
For some reason, the sitting in traffic is worse. And I don't like being in the traffic, so it's a combination of me getting a slow burn here now because I want to get moving and get on the way.
It's never going to be the most plausible excuse for a traffic violation, but Jeannie's desperate to get home to masturbate, or as she coyly puts it, take care of business.
I can't wait to get in the house, go to the bathroom, and then take care of myself. So, with that, I'll see you later.
Ten minutes later, an eerie calm descends on Sand Canyon.
How was that?
Much better. I'm good to go.
For me, orgasms has become a task. It's work. It's a job. It's something that I would be ever grateful to go the rest of my entire life with never having another one. I've had enough in my lifetime for myself and probably half of the female population of this world.
Persistent sexual arousal syndrome isn't like nymphomania. It's not that these women are permanently hot for it. It's just that this pressure, this genital tension builds up, and it can only be released in orgasm. The condition can be set off by the weirdest things. Buses, cars and boats are all problems because the vibrations can send these women over the edge. Even household objects can get you going. In a leafy suburb of Atlanta, Rachel, a housewife and mother of 3, confronts the menace of a washing machine intent on seducing her.
When you're doing the housework, Rachel, are there any things that you avoid?
I hate the washing machine. The washing machine, for whatever reason, when it goes on the spin cycle, I don't even like to touch it. The vibrations have a tendency to trigger the persistent sexual arousal, and it'll trigger an episode.
What would it feel like? Is it quite violent? Is it sudden?
Yeah, it's real sudden. I mean, like, you know, if I'm doing something and I accidentally bump into the washer, or if I put my hand on it, it's more than I can handle.
Rachel's day is dominated by a 1 to 10 scale of genital discomfort. 10's unbearable.
Does it go up to a 9 or a 20?
It can be as high as a 9 or a 10, depending on what stage of the cycle that it's in, and you know, even it can even depend on what kind of mood I'm in. If I accidentally bump into it, if I put my hand on it, I obviously don't sit on it for obvious reasons. It can be that I think would do me in.
Are you ever tempted?
I did it once, shortly after I noticed the persistent sexual arousal. I sat on the washing machine one time, just waiting on a load to be finished, and yeah, it not only did it trigger the persistent sexual arousal, but the spontaneous orgasms that came afterwards were enough to make me get off.
Just as scratching an itch makes it worse, so Rachel can't let herself be drawn in by the washing machine.
It's to the point now to where, unless the water is running and I'm putting clothes in, I don't like to be near the washing machine.
It's a queer thing when the washing machine knows how to send you into a spin cycle. Persistent sexual arousal syndrome has affected women of every age, ranging from 19 to 80. For Atlanta housewife Rachel, the symptoms developed 8 years ago.
The first time that I felt it, it was just like a dull throbbing. It's progressed over the years to where not only is it throbbing, but it's throbbing like a heartbeat, and it's like I can hear it. It's loud enough within me that I feel like I can hear it. So yeah, it's definitely gotten worse, which scares me because I'm only 29. And I know that there are women that are like 80 that have it, and the thought of facing the next 50 years with this is more than I can think about right now.
Jeannie also developed the symptoms of persistent sexual arousal syndrome 8.5 years ago.
They were gradual over the first couple of months, maybe 2 or 3 months, and then just bing, skyrocketed overnight. And only one time did I decide, well, you know, I'm going to give myself a release every time I feel this and just see if I just happened to be someone that needed a multiple orgasm. And I got to 10 in 1 hour. And partially from exhaustion, because that's just a tremendous number, and from shock. I just kind of laid back on the bed and went, oh my God, and I could keep going. I could keep going. Something is majorly wrong. Something's majorly wrong, and that was when I started my quest of seeing doctors.
This isn't a problem that Jeannie's going to sit on, and her search for a cure is going to take her to some surprising places.
Lars the little polar bear and his friends are about to have a very big new adventure.
Welcome to the Galapagos Islands!
I'm lost!
Come with them and experience the magic and laughter of the little polar bear, the mysterious island.
Sainsbury's saved 25% on all Australian and Californian wines. So try Ernest and Julio Gallo Colombard, now just $3.59. Cheers.
You okay, Doris? You alright?
Take your pants to paradise with new Surf Tropical.
Mums want healthier things for kids. How can we bake our white bread even healthier?
Other bakers only use parts of the grain. Shouldn't we use the whole of the grain?
The only white bread with the extra goodness of the whole of the grain, but without any bits.
Brilliant. Whole grain and white from Kingsmill, using our loaf.
Your skin never looks better than on holiday. New Johnson's Holiday Skin Face is a daily moisturiser with a little self-tan that gradually builds a light, natural-looking tan. For holiday skin, even when you're not on holiday. New Johnson's Holiday Skin Face and Body too.
Wouldn't it be nice if work didn't feel like work? And you could make Monday morning feel like Friday night. Maybe you could. Why not overdress for work? It might make your day. There's a million ways to make your day. Mars Delight's just one of them.
Because some people want to take vitamins, it's half price on Boots' bigger value vitamin packs.
This week I reveal how you can live like a footballer's wife. Get the dresses, the diets, the scandal and the men. Part 1 out now in Reveal.
There's only one thing missing from new Finish Quantum. The need to unwrap it. New Quantum from Finish.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way.
New V8 is a mouth-watering blend of 7 fruit juices and carrot juice. The tasty way to get real vegetable goodness.
With this insatiable beast constantly shouting in your ear, sometimes you have to bury your head in the sand of mundane activities. Any simple distraction will do. Washing, cleaning, polishing all help keep the beast at bay. You need simple, repetitive actions. Rubbing, rubbing, rubbing.
Do you feel like the persistent sexual arousal is turning you into a neurotic housewife?
Did you say neurotic or erotic?
Neurotic.
Neurotic, yes. Yes, I think so. It's hard that there's only 2 spots on the spectrum that I can pick. There's no in between. It's not, oh, I only feel like cleaning one room today. No, it's either I clean the whole entire house or I don't get out of bed.
How are you feeling right now?
Let's see, how do you describe it? There's a lot going on as far as throbbing down in that area.
So you feel hot and bothered?
Kind of, but not in a sexual way. Not like, oh, I need to go find my husband right now. Not anything like that. It's more bothered than it is hot.
How many orgasms a day could you have if you weren't controlling the persistent sexual arousal?
Wow. If I wasn't controlling it, they're probably, I don't even know that I could put a number on it. It would be in the hundreds. They come every 30 seconds for 4 to 6, sometimes 8 hours. And I'm sure that's well up in the hundreds. I'm not a math person, but I'm sure it's up there. I mean, if I had no self-control, no willpower, I don't know that I would ever leave the house. It would probably be me and however many toys I could get sent to the house at any given time. Lots and lots of batteries.
Back in Los Angeles, Jeannie also dances to the persistent sexual arousal drum as her son Frank looks on.
I have found that the more focus I give something, the less I'm aware of the arousal. So I try to keep myself moving and busy until I'm just like really exhausted and fall asleep. So I'll come in and I'll do a lot of cleaning. I'm real good at just moving around. I'll dust, I'll pick up lint, whatever, just to keep my body going. It's hard to sit still. I'm always moving. Maybe it just rearranges, you know, the pulsations or something.
Plainly, none of these women have a vacancy for a cleaner. The support needs in their lives are more of the medical variety. But sadly, this is an area where the doctor's bedside manner seems to be lacking.
I told my gynecologist, and he acted like I didn't say anything.
He had a good snicker about it. And, you know, he got a big grin from ear to ear and said, "You're every man's dream."
And I'm not kidding, he was down, like, in the trenches, right? And he looks up at me, and then he went back to what he was doing, like I had never said a word.
Well, I reacted the way any woman would, and I said, you know, it's not funny, it's not a joke. How would you like to walk around with an erection 24 hours a day, or you'd have an ejaculation, and then within a few minutes have a full-on erection again? And stay that way 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
If the man that treats women and all he works in is that area of the body looked at me like that, oh, then I definitely am the only one. There's nobody else on the planet.
You tend to think of Americans as sexually upfront in a Jerry Springer sort of way. But vast swathes of the country are Bible Belt areas, deeply conservative and repressed. Try explaining persistent sexual arousal there. This is exactly the problem Heather had to face. For this blushing young bride, the forbidden feelings started to develop 3 months after getting married, turning her world on its head. 9 years on, her husband and parents pray with her as a faith healer attempts to exorcise the demon monster.
We want to make a difference in Heather's life, Lord, and that the name of Jesus is glorified. And your daughter is blessed, set free. So have mercy on us. Show us how to pray, Lord.
Yes. How many people have you told?
At first I told almost everyone because I was just so anxious to find out if anyone else was suffering from it and you know, if anyone knew of any kind of help. Some people thought that I was demon-possessed or that perhaps someone had cursed my womb, you know, saying things like, you know, if I wasn't a Christian and had this problem that, you know, I would have ended up as a prostitute or a nymphomaniac.
Despite her devout appearance, Heather's been a bit of a wild child in the past, with several previous boyfriends, including the notorious singer Marilyn Manson. There's been a cruel suggestion that she's been cursed by her past.
I don't know how I ended up with her.
It's the strangest of gatherings. Family members and Bible bashers discussing the unreasonable demands of Heather's private parts.
I thought, boy, she's got to be sick of religious people by now. That was the first thought I had after reading this email is, boy, she's got to be sick of religious people. No wonder she's calling on weirdos like us.
Yeah, there's so much misunderstanding.
How you can't get any more humiliating than having to tell people that you have to masturbate for it to be relieved.
It's,
there's nothing.
yeah, so it's like you just laugh or you cry.
For Heather, the feelings of persistent sexual arousal syndrome kicked in during her 3rd month of pregnancy.
It was in my 3rd month of pregnancy that I just woke up one morning and there were these sensations, you know, within my vagina. And I thought perhaps it was just hormonal. So, you know, I masturbated and made it go away. But then the next day, it came back. I talked to my, you know, obstetrician about it, and she had no idea either, but she said that hopefully it would go away after the baby was born.
Yay!
For Rachel, persistent sexual arousal syndrome also came as an unwelcome extra when she had her first child.
I was 21. I had just had a cesarean section for the birth of my son. It was a couple of weeks after he was born. And I just assumed that the feelings that I was starting to experience were a result of my hormones trying to find that medium ground again. And so I just kind of dismissed it. It was my first pregnancy. It was the first time I'd ever had a child, so I just assumed, you know, that was natural. I had a lot of postpartum depression, so I spent a lot of time on the sofa crying. And even laying on the sofa crying, it would start.
Whoa.
And so it was even harder because it was like, I'm not turned on. I'm not in the mood. For the first time in a long time, I don't want to have sex right now. Why is this still going on?
While for the other girls, persistent sexual arousal syndrome was linked to the first twinges of pregnancy, for Jeannie it coincided with the onset of menopause.
I started spotting rather than having regular menses, so I thought, well, maybe I'm starting menopause, and maybe it's related to something with the hormones. Although anything I had read about menopause, women lose their sex drive. And I thought, well, that would be just like me, to be the one oddball and go the other way and start to have an increase.
There are only 40 known cases of persistent sexual arousal syndrome in the world, and no one knows if it's hormonal, neurological, or related to abnormal blood flow. Usually, orgasm involves build-up and release, desire, arousal, increased blood flow, and orgasm. In persistent sexual arousal syndrome, it's off the scales. It's all tension and little, if any, release. The sexual organs are constantly crammed with blood, ready for action, no matter what your state of mind. But the cause is unknown. All three women saw an assortment of doctors for help, but even they were in the dark.
To date, I've seen probably 7 or 8 different gynecologists, an internist, a urologist, a neurologist, a neurourologist, a psychologist, a behavioral psychologist, a psychiatrist. None of them had heard of this condition. None of them knew the cause. None of them had any idea how to treat it except the urologist. So I sent her an email. Wow, what a shock, because she said, yes, we have treated a couple of women with this, and it's called persistent sexual arousal syndrome.
The day that I found out that it had a name, that one day was like, other than the birth of my children and getting married, one of my top 5, just finding out it had a name.
My husband and son went to get their hair cut at the barber, and while they were sitting there in the waiting room, my husband glances down at the table and sees that there's a magazine open, and it's the Boston Globe, and it's an article about persistent sexual arousal. I got to read the Boston Globe article for myself, and I just started weeping, because here was exactly my problem. You know, women describing what I had been through for 9 years, and here I thought I was all alone.
Somebody finally validated that I wasn't the only one on the face of the planet with this problem, which is how I felt for that entire 6 years, especially when you can't find anyone else who has it. You can't find all those doctors, no one had heard of it. You really feel like a freak.
The remarkable discovery that this freakish condition had a name spurred Jeannie on to set up the first ever persistent sexual arousal syndrome support group on the internet.
What are you doing, Jeannie?
I'm checking the message board for the support group I started for women with persistent sexual arousal syndrome.
Are these women all over the world or just in the United States?
Oh no, they're all over the world. There's one on here that lives in Hong Kong. There's one in Australia. There's a couple in the UK. And so far the rest are here in the States.
58 and rising. What was thought to be as rare as hen's teeth has turned out to be much bigger.
I think there's probably a lot more women out there than anyone could imagine. They're too ashamed, too embarrassed, think they're the only ones. I mean, there's been someone that's joined the board that says, I've had this 15 years and I thought I was the only one. Oh, and I know that feeling so well.
Naming things helps to give you a sense of control over them. It's kick-started Jeannie into a program of change. The weight and the persistent sexual arousal syndrome have both got to come under her thumb.
The hips have got to go. The spare tire's got to go. And the PSAS has really got to go. Well, I'm pushing 50 pounds now over the last 8.5 years since it started. That's a lot of weight to carry. So I've decided to try to make this the year of nothing but positive things for health. No smoking, start getting in shape, lose the weight, and find some kind of positive, good treatment for PSAS and get my life back. I'm just trying to take control, that's all.
To get control, Jeannie will do anything, no matter how off the wall. She's tracked down an alternative therapist and arranged for her to come to her house. Here's Dr. London, who thinks she might have a cure.
Hi.
Hi there.
Come on in.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Nice to meet you in person.
Hi, you too.
How are you doing today?
Oh, been looking forward to this. I have. Yeah.
Good. Good. Well, let's get going, shall we?
Okay.
All right, good.
Will this box of tricks be the answer to Jeannie's prayers?
The perfect sausages add a splash of Liam Perrins. Bangers and splash.
I'm sorry, Susan. I just can't do this anymore. HP. Proper British.
Proper gravy needs a glug of Liam Perrins.
I wish I always worried a little less and eaten a little more.
When I was younger, I wish I'd drunk more beer.
And I wish I'd got more grass stains.
Girls, you are never too old.
Grass stains. You hussy.
Now available, new Lurpak spreadable unsalted.
Fancy some Walls micro sausages?
Walls?
All right.
Great. It's a good job it only takes 60 seconds!
40 seconds. Ready? Oh, I'll call you.
Wall's micro sausages, sizzling in 60 seconds.
Fact. Not washing your hands properly
can mean that whatever you handle, they handle. So trust Dettol's new hand wash, proven to kill 99.9% of bacteria and enriched with aloe vera. It leaves hands feeling soft and moisturized. Dettol protects. Fact.
I want an immediate lift. For me, nothing beats Revitalift.
Step into the future of skincare. L'Oreal Revitalift Double Lifting. On one side, a concentrated tautening gel with Protensium. On the other, a comforting anti-wrinkle cream with Pro-Retinol A. It immediately tautens skin and reduces the appearance of wrinkles. Double lifting from L'Oreal Paris Revitalift. Now celebrating 10 years of effectiveness, giving women firmer feeling, younger looking skin. Revitalift. Have you tried it?
Me and the Tefal gang have made this beautiful set of pans. And the thermospot is just genius. It tells you exactly when to cook to seal in the flavour.
Jamie Oliver Professional Series by Tefal.
Cookware that moves you. And don't forget your flipping pancakes.
It's a beautiful day. I'm feeling so fine.
Blackberries, blueberries, blackcurrants. Discover the irresistible tang of Special K purple berries.
It's beautiful, oh, what a beautiful day.
New Special K purple berries.
New drama at 10 on 5.
You're being transferred.
What?
Moving you over to Statesville.
Get off me!
You can't end like this.
We got a runner!
Prison Break. New drama, 10 o'clock Monday on 5.
How does persistent sexual arousal syndrome hit your relationship in the bedroom and beyond? Is it the answer to every lover's prayers or a curse from hell? Heather and Jeremy got together after a whirlwind romance 10 years back.
He was 19 when we married and I was 21. Our wedding was really a beautiful day. You know, we were just so in love and we just wanted to get married and just start our lives together.
But little did they know that 3 months later, their world was about to be turned upside down.
How's it affected your marriage, do you think?
Oh, in every way. In every single way. I mean, we haven't had what other people have had. I mean, we've had to deal with hard issues, you know. We haven't got to sleep together for years.
90 days into their marriage, and persistent sexual arousal syndrome dealt a savage blow to the young lovers. Suddenly, out of the blue, Heather couldn't even bear her husband's touch, an ironic twist to a syndrome named persistent sexual arousal.
The persistent sexual arousal definitely affected our sex life from the very start. Because if I didn't have the sensations, I didn't want him touching me, I didn't want him to even, you know, make any advances towards sex, because if the sensations were not there, then I didn't want them there.
How do you think that made him feel?
I don't think he felt good about it. I mean, he never made me feel guilty about it. And I think his attitude was just kind of he had to accept it. I mean, what else could he do?
Sex has become such a minefield for Heather, she prefers to sleep on her own.
Where are we going now, Heather?
We're now going to the bachelor pad. This is Jeremy and Jonah's room. I call it the bachelor pad because it's always a mess, for one, and because this is where they hang out and play guitar.
POD. Hold on. Bar chords. Play a D for me. Play a D.
Father and son also sleep together in the double bed for necessity, to give Heather some privacy.
We have a king-size bed, and they sleep in there together, and I sleep at night in my son's room. It started off that way because having only 2 bedrooms, there was really nowhere for me to go to masturbate.
Of course, that can't happen in front of Jonah, you know, so there's the whole sheltering thing. You know, for me, sometimes I want to be like, he needs to sleep on his own. He's 8 years old, for God's sake. You know, he's got to be a man, for God's sake, you know, and I'm a man, and he needs to be sleeping in his own bed, you know, but it's not ideal, but there again, it's for Heather, it's just a necessity.
What husband would think that having a constantly aroused wife means he has to sleep with his son every night?
What do you say to men that say these women that suffer from persistent sexual arousal are every man's dream?
Just typically freaking stupid, because they're thinking of nymphos, basically. They're thinking of women who would love to have sex all the time with them, and, you know, that's probably very rare. Well, just this is too, but this is something completely different. These women do not want the sensations, the persistent sexual arousal syndrome. They hate it. It's caused some women to the point of suicide.
Heather has taken to a daily ritual of sketching in her diaries to cope with the problem of the syndrome. You get an idea of the way she feels through the way she draws.
I just try to draw an example of how I'm feeling in this. You know, my vagina is burning with unwanted sensations, you know, even making her mad. Mm-hmm. But her face is shaded in and kind of hidden because this problem is you know, something that you can't easily talk about, and you basically suffer alone.
But persistent sexual arousal hasn't entirely destroyed their marriage.
Is the Heather that you know now still the Heather that you knew when you first met?
Yeah, she's the same person, absolutely. I mean, a little bit older and fatter, and we're a little bit more ragged and rough around the edges in some ways, appearance-wise, but yeah, I mean, we have something much deeper. It's, I think our relationship is not what we can get from one another as much as what we can give to one another.
You know, thankfully, here we are. You know, we're going to be married 10 years, and we definitely love each other in a much deeper way, and we know that we can make it through very hard things, you know, and still accept each other and love each other.
It seems persistent sexual arousal syndrome isn't the same for everyone. In Rachel's case, it hasn't killed a healthy sexual appetite. Far from it.
Where are we off to now?
Well, I have something special planned for John for Valentine's Day, and found out about a store called Satin and Lace, and they sell outfits and underwear and toys and things like that. So I just wanted to go and have a peek and hopefully get something to be able to take off for him for Valentine's Day. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Y'all just have a little bit of everything here.
May I help you find anything?
You know what I'm looking for is little shorts with the ruffly butt.
Sorry?
She saw me coming.
For most of the time, Rachel avoids anything that might trigger her persistent sexual arousal syndrome. But there are some triggers that she doesn't mind being squeezed.
What about your husband? Is he a big trigger?
Yeah. He's the biggest trigger of all. Yeah. We're newlyweds, so we're still very affectionate. And it started off just, you know, him touching me or stuff like that. It's to the point now to where he can take off his shirt, and he'll do it.
But there's going to be no such luck.
Yeah,
but I do have, like I said, I have the black and ruffly butt boy panties.
Oh, you
like
do?
The boy briefs? Yeah, let me show them.
With ruffly butt and
ruffly butt.
Okay.
Not just crotchless, but ruffly butt.
How often do you come to these kind of stores, Rachel?
These kind of stores, not very often. Not as often as I'd like to. Let's put it that way. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and these,
yeah.
Again, slingshot, but very cute.
Whereas most women are like, not tonight, honey, I've got a headache. Yeah, I'm always, okay, let's go.
Okay. Are you ready for some raunch?
Rachel's husband has a rather lean and tired look to him.
All right.
From the husband who can't get much to the husband who wouldn't mind the odd night off.
I got some shoes.
It's a good thing I have no political ambitions. I called it the horny toad disease. It's a frog out in the southwest that's the horned toad.
What about when she starts jumping on you or chasing you around the kitchen table?
Sometimes that happens and you're like, you know, stop, quit, you know. But it's, I won't say it's odd. It does make for a fun time, you know, because it's not every day that women are aggressive in that way. But, you know, sometimes it's inopportune.
Given the frequency, John can't always rise to the occasion.
How do you feel when he turns you down, Rachel?
At first, I took it so horribly. Oh my God. Because when you know that there's a way to relieve it and you don't have access to that way, you know, and so your emotions are like all over the place and mood swings and everything else, that I just let my emotions get the best of me. And a lot of times I was in tears. I was like, you know, you don't really want me and stuff like that. And it was probably really hard. Plus it's hard. It was probably really hard to deal with.
What would you say to many men out there who would look at Rachel now and think, she's every man's fantasy?
Well, like I said before, it's a double-edged sword. You think you want it until you've got it.
Jeannie doesn't have a husband to worry about. She's been divorced for 8 years. Her last marriage hit the rocks of persistent sexual arousal syndrome. It was just too weird to explain to her husband, and the relationship went west.
Who's that there, Jeannie?
That's my ex-husband, my little soulmate, and me.
Wow. When was that taken?
It was about 9 years ago. Seems like another lifetime.
You look like a famous country singer.
Yeah. We did some two-stepping. We did some line dancing.
They were good days, were they?
Yeah, they were. They were pretty happy. Never know what can happen
and it
in
was
the future.
Persistent sexual arousal that drew you apart?
Well, that's why I left, because I couldn't tell him about it. Yeah. Didn't want to tell him. My whole life is different, period. Used to have a really wonderful husband, and we shared a lot of the same things with golfing and camping, and we owned a boat and would go boating. I really lost my husband over this too, because I couldn't tell him.
Why couldn't you tell your husband?
Well, because I was very, very embarrassed. How was I going to explain it? Because I didn't understand it myself. What am I going to say? Gee, I need orgasms every 10 minutes, and it never goes away, and I don't know why.
Can you ever imagine yourself having a happy, sexually fulfilling relationship? Or is that just a dream?
Where there's life, there's hope.
Jeannie now lives with her son Frank, who's one of the few people she can tell about her condition, whether he likes it or not.
I don't like to get into it too much. It's your mother, you know, but...
He knows the gist of it. He knows the basics of it. We don't talk in detail. I'm not gonna... I spare him that, but he knows.
It's your mother. You don't even want to imagine her having sexual organs or anything, you know. But, you know, she started to tell me about it, and it sounded bizarre to me. I'm like, whoa, you know. My hands are tied. I just try to make her laugh, seriously, you know, make her laugh when she's down or whatever. And,
I wish my hands were tied.
Or, Jesus, nice. Here we go.
That's the kind of joking we do. Tie my hands. Oh, okay.
Jeannie knows that if she's ever going to get her life back, she has to find a cure. Conventional treatment of persistent sexual arousal syndrome involves surgically sealing off abdominal blood vessels, but in America, this treatment is expensive and carries no money-back guarantees. Jeannie resorts to alternative medicines, which are cheaper and seem less invasive. On the advice of a friend, she arranges for an alternative pain therapist to come to her house.
Tell me, what are you hoping to achieve from this treatment here?
At this point, even if I just get some relief and it's not gone altogether, I would be happy with that for starts. So that's my hope.
California is a broad church when it comes to alternative therapies. Here's Dr. London, who's going to perform her rites. Jeannie's treatment is based on an electronic type of acupuncture, which works on trying to balance the body's energy flows.
Be interesting to see if I can even focus on the treatment, because that's what I'm focusing on right now. And and actually the persistent sexual arousal now, because I'm getting high anxiety, is going through the roof. It is very, very strong right now and uncomfortable.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where are we at now?
We're at a 20.
But that will be the least of Jeannie's problems. As they say, there's no gain without pain.
Okay. Are you ready? Why don't you have a seat?
Okay.
This is just like acupuncture, but it uses an electrical device instead of needles.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no entrance into your body. You feel anything with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. That's a good sign. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Sorry.
Yes, I feel electrical shocks.
Right. Thank you very much.
I am gripping this with a death grip.
Sorry.
Ow. Ouch. Oh, that's worse. Oh, yeah.
Let's just hope Jeannie doesn't blow a fuse.
When the family is suffering with congestion and blocked sinuses, Olbus is there for everyone. Olbus Pastels for blocked noses and sore throats. Olbus Inhaler for on-the-go noses. And original Olbus Oil to look after Mum too. There's a whole family of Olbus products, so everyone can have the power to breathe naturally. And there's a gentle formulation for little noses, Olbus for children.
Guess what's in now? Will Young tells all about his heartbreak.
Now party for longer. Rimmel London's new Recover Anti-Fatigue Foundation transforms the look of tired skin for an instant glow. Look great when you stayed out all night. New Recover Foundation from Rimmel London.
They're not good enough to be cops. They're not good enough to be security guards. They're not even good for nothing. But boy, did they look good in slow-mo. National Security, 9 o'clock, Sunday on 5.
Treating persistent sexual arousal syndrome can be a shocking experience.
Ouch! Oh! Oh, you're not going to do that to my feet, are you? I'll be right out of the chair.
It may not be that painful.
I have a low sensitivity to pain, and I'm a wuss.
All right, so just keep breathing.
Oh, I can feel that. That's kind of like a...
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
That's good. Let's have the other one.
Ouch, 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 ouch.
Breathe,
Oh.
breathe. Almost done, almost done, almost done, almost done.
Oh, yeah.
1 hour and 240 volts later, silence.
I have no pulsations right now. I'm going to time this to see how long this lasts.
Doubting Thomas that you are. Huh?
No.
No, I know, I understand.
I'm just real curious.
This is the first time in 8 years that Jeannie has been pulsation-free.
This just feels very odd. It's certainly not a complaint. It just feels... It's like it's been so long that I don't remember what this feels like.
Do you feel like your old self?
Let yourself cry. Let the energy leave.
It does. It's just, I have not felt this way at all. And you know what? Well, all right, you wanted me to talk feelings. Part of me is absolutely afraid that this is just going to be like short-lived, and I'm only going to feel this, and you're going to walk out the door and get in your car, and by tonight I'm going to be exactly right back to square one.
Can you enjoy where you are? Put that fear on it and just enjoy this for as long as you have it? Can you focus on that?
Okay. I will.
Okay. She keeps looking at the clock.
Well, you would too. I went 10 minutes. It's nothing. Am I done?
You're done.
I'm a baked cake. Oh my God. I'm gonna stand up. I have to stand up and see if it's different when I stand up. Walk around. This feels so strange. It really feels. Frank! That is Wonder Woman. I have 0 pulsations. We have timed it. I am at 12 minutes with no feeling. Nothing. 0.
Really?
No tingling, no... I know you don't like to talk about it. Nothing. I have not felt that in 8.5 years.
Wow.
That's the God's truth.
What is it?
It's this wand and all these things, and she checks your energy and gives you whatever you need.
8 years is a long time.
Jeannie's persistent sexual arousal syndrome was gone completely for 48 hours. Her first break in 8.5 years, but sadly it didn't last. From slight flutters, the sensation slowly built up again. But at least she knows there exists some kind of temporary relief. A long-term cure may be out of sight, but perhaps the more enduring solace is that Jeannie knows she's not alone. On the grounds of a problem shared is a problem lessened, we arranged for the women to meet in Los Angeles. It's the first time they've ever met in person.
Are these my girls? Are these my girls? Hi. Hello. Who's who?
I'm Rachel.
You're Rachel. Oh, Rachel. You son of a gun.
Heather.
I'm like, you can't guess who I am.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice. Well, welcome to California.
Thank you. It's been quite an experience so far.
The girls are joined by another sufferer, 20-year-old student Bat Shua, who learned of the girls from the website.
No, but I brought you all little welcome bags. I made Rachel. They're all the same, sort of, kind of, but I tried to do your little personalities on them.
And she knew to put chocolate.
You better believe it.
Chocolate. Yes, we had this unbelievable.
See, you're married, and so I figure there you are telling him that I need another orgasm, and he's like...
Here the girls can relax and talk openly about their condition with one another.
I live here, and my day's been hell, so I'm happy for all this.
As night falls, horny toads come out to play. The girls hire a limo for the night to take in some of the Hollywood hotspots.
Just pour everyone a glass and we'll have a toast. We'll have a persistent sexual arousal toast.
4 orgasmic women out on the town.
We've made the bulletin board, girls.